All right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming out here today to the Convo and joining us for this exciting day for our men's basketball program. We're very happy to welcome one of our own home today. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Director of Athletics, Jim Schaus.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Well, it is indeed a great day to be a Bobcat with the hiring of Jeff Boals, and a very, very exciting day for all of us. New beginnings are very exciting for all of us in our lives. And I think today we embark on a new chapter in the history of Ohio men's basketball with Jeff's hire. Although this search was very short, there was a comprehensive review on a national level of great head coaches and assistant coaches to meet really what we were looking for in a new head coach. And Jeff checked all the boxes and he fit all the criteria that we had. I would say that one of the things that was exciting about this process is to take a look at what we wanted in a new head coach. And we were able to obtain those things, but we got some bonuses along the way. If you're ever able to get somebody who's an Ohioan, an Ohio University graduate, and had played on our men's basketball team during one of the greatest eras in school history, well, I'd say that's a pretty good deal. I would like to welcome Jeff's family, who is here, his wife Katie, daughter Sydney, and son Chase, and Jeff's mother here, Marge, is here. So welcome, and welcome to the Bobcat family. So great to have you here, Jeff. I think that one of the things that we were looking for in this position, there's three things that really stood out. First of all is really outstanding coaching experience. And when you can hire somebody who's had excellent head coaching experience, it's always a plus. It's a very difficult job. You got a lot of balls to juggle. You have to have that right personality, be very organized. And so I certainly appreciate that. And Jeff has done an outstanding job in his 3 years as a head coach at Stony Brook. Really helped turn that program into a great place right now. And they're positioned well for the future based on his recruiting and the program that he's built there. You also look at other areas of his experience. Just outstanding. Jeff has coached in the MAC. I think the years of experience he had under Thad Matta at Ohio State, it's always important to be under a good leader, really learn the right way, and I have great respect for Coach Matta. I think if you look at all the things that he's done in his career, it's just really incredible. In addition, Jeff is a great X's and O's coach. During this process, I watch a lot of games on TV, and one of the things that you'll notice about Jeff's demeanor on the sidelines is that he's very calculated. He's not, a raving maniac on the sidelines on the officials. He's very, he's not berating his players. I mean, when it's a timeout, he takes that clipboard out. He's very specific. This is what we're going to do. I've seen his team get down big, and he's still under control. I've seen him be up way big. And so I think, how you manage yourself on the court is really indicative of the kind of things that I think are very, very important. The next area is recruiting. So recruiting is the lifeblood of any program. And there's an old adage in the coaching profession that great student athletes, great players, make for smart coaches. So I'm sure, Jeff, you agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he knows that. And so I think very, very important for us from a recruiting standpoint is to have a coach and a staff that's familiar with recruiting Ohio and our region. Extremely important. So recruiting is all about relationships. It's relationships with student athletes and recruits. And Jeff's entire staff also has been from Ohio and is from Ohio. So they've successfully recruited our state and our region to build relationships with high school coaches, AAU coaches. Very, very important to be able to do that. So last time I checked, we're the only school in the state that can put Ohio across their chest. So I'd say that's pretty important. Last is, I think, Jeff's personality. It's really infectious. When you get a chance to meet him, you just sense right off his energy, his enthusiasm, his vision for everything he does, especially for Ohio University. Very, very passionate. So extremely important also to have a personality that can get along and work with all different kinds of people in different circumstances. And so the constituents he has to work with as a head coach involves players and assistant coaches and media and fans and administrators and all types of things. And so he's done that successfully well. His athletic director just raved about what he has done there at Stony Brook. So I know that Jeff's personality is going to be something that's really going to buoy his success here at Ohio University. So if you can't tell, I'm pretty excited about Jeff, and I'm pretty excited about our future under his leadership. I would also like to thank President Nellis, who has been very supportive of our program also in this process. So we had a chance, President Nellis and I had a chance to meet with Jeff this week, and we were just overwhelmed and impressed by him on so many different levels. So President Nellis, I really appreciate also your support of our athletic program, of what you do. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce the 21st President of Ohio University, President Duane Nellis.
Well, thank you all for being here on this very special day, and it's a great day to be a Bobcat today. We're really excited to have Jeff and his family here, Katie, Sydney, Chase, and his mother. It's very special with family. You know, as Jim said, I had the opportunity to participate in the interview with Jeff, and there were certain key words and dialogue that I was looking for and that reinforced some of the points that Jim has already made. But I wanted to mention some of the words that came out of that interview process that, for me, were really important. One of those is certainly being competitive, and you feel that passion in Jeff and what he's done at Stony Brook and as an assistant under some major programs. You know, we want to be at the highest level. We want to compete for MAC championships every year. We want to be there at the top. But we also want to do it, and I think Jeff reflected this, with integrity. We want to have a program that is clearly at the highest level as far as integrity. And Jeff reinforced that in so many different ways as he talked about the way in which he builds his program, the way he treats his student athletes, the way he builds his recruitment platform. He mentioned the word family many times, and not only about his immediate family and how important they are to him, of course, but also his basketball team and the fact that they are family. And I think he sees the Ohio University family as certainly an important part of what drew Ruthie and me to Athens, and I think that's true in drawing Jeff back to Ohio University, that sense of commitment to family. Academic quality, another one that he strives for with his players. It's more than just being an athlete, it's being truly a student athlete that is successful in the classroom as well as on the playing field, and being part of the community as well, those athletes and the team. Really training them with lifelong skills. I heard Jeff talk about that these are young men that he is training for a lifetime of success through the experience they have in being part of his basketball program. And then finally, about coming back to Ohio. This is really, really important to Jeff and his family. The experience he had here at Ohio University, I heard him talk about that in so many different ways and how meaningful this place is to him in his heart, in his passion, and the type of team that he wants to build here at Ohio University. So again, I'm just really thrilled today to have Jeff here as our new coach and his family as well. We welcome them to Jeff back to the Ohio Bobcat family, and certainly his family to our family as part of Ohio University. Thank you for being here today, and congratulations to Coach Boals. Thank you very much.
Got a jersey for Coach Boals. This is Jeff's number, 45. Change that. So Jeff, just really want to welcome you home.
Thank you.
Bobcat family, thanks so much. I know it's going to be a great
Thank you.
success.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell you what, thankfully, one of the criteria wasn't a great player, because I would have been scratched off a list pretty quickly. But you know, extremely honored and gratefully humbled to be back home, and I think when I walked into the Convocation Center, you know, I looked up and saw the rafters, saw the banners, you know, saw the seats, and it brought back a flood of memories. And a lot of them positive, you know, a couple negative, but you know, just seeing the banners and the Convocation Center floor, there's no better place. And you know, it took a moment to just kind of look around, smile, and you know, thought about the good times, the bad times, and really how that shaped my career and who I am to today. My senior year, 20 games in, I tore my ACL for the third time. So the training room that's brand new now, that wasn't like that when I was here, I spent a lot of time in. And it kind of, I always tell people, how did you get into coaching? And I tell them I literally fell into coaching. Now, I want to be a physical therapist. Through all my knee surgeries, you know, spent a lot of time with physical therapists and trainers. You know, felt like that was my calling. And at the end of my senior year, when 20 games in, I wish my head coach could be here today. Sorry. You're good. Coach Hunter meant a lot to me, and wish he could be here, but he got me started in coaching. And 24 years later, here we are. And it's hard to believe how it's come full circle. And you know, just the steps and avenues you go, and you know, you deal with your family. You know, it means a lot, you know, to come back here. And I think, first of all, like I said, I'm honored and humbled to be the 19th head coach here at Ohio University, at my alma mater. And I take that with great pride. And there's going to be no one more passionate than me, you know, serving this community, serving our student athletes, you know, to become productive citizens in life. And you know, I've been on Court Street, I've been in James Hall, I've been a sergeant, you know, maybe a little too much, but I know what these guys are going through. And you know, it's different when you coach and when you played, but when you played where they're at, I think that's a special thing. And it's always been a dream of mine, you know, ever since I started coaching, to come back here and be the head coach. And I feel very fortunate today to be standing in front of you. Well, I'd like to thank President Stanley and Sean Hilbrun, the athletic director and president of Stony Brook. They took a chance on me. They believed in me. And I carved a 3-year career there, moved to Long Island, New York, and never thought my first head coaching job would be on Long Island. But I really want to thank them and the team. One of the hardest things I ever had to do in my coaching career was tell my team I was leaving. And the relationships you build, the recruiting that you have, you know, it's a special group. We finished 24-8 this year, and you know, it's most regular seasons win ever, 13 road wins, most in the country. Beat an SEC team, 2 Atlantic 10 teams, a Missouri Valley team, and I'm grateful to that team, you know, for allowing me this opportunity. And to tell them I was leaving, you know, was pretty difficult. You know, that being said, I'd like to thank President Nellis and Jim Schaus for, you know, kind of starting the process with me and believing in me to be the next head coach here. And I think if you look at the opportunity to lead these young men, you know, it's exciting for me. And you know, I've grown up and matured since my time here, every step of the way. And 3 years of being a head coach at Stony Brook, you know, has really prepared me for a situation like this. And I think, you know, the group that we have, you know, they'll always compete. You know, they're going to play selfless. You know, play as a team. And the biggest thing is play with grit. You know, we're going to put a product on the floor where, you know, it's going to be a fun product to watch. The young men that we like in our program are going to be high character, you know, guys who love the game of basketball, and young men who are serious about earning their degree. Those 3 things are very important in who we bring in here to serve our athletic community and campus community. 3 non-negotiables that we'll talk about. Going to class is going to be non-negotiable. Your attitude and your effort. You know, 3 things you can control. And I think, you know, we're going to have fun doing it in the process. And I think lastly, I'd like to thank my family. My mom, Marge, is here. She lives up in Magnolia, Ohio, where I grew up, about an hour and 50 minutes, actually about 2 hours and 15 minutes away now. Cut a couple roads off. Made that trip way too many times. My wife, Katie, my daughter, Sydney, and my son, Chase. And you know, the sacrifice, you know, college athletics is tough on families. And you know, the journey that we've had, my daughter's 15, going to be 16. She's lived in, this will be her 7th city she's lived in. And the sacrifice that they make is huge. And my wife, obviously a coach's wife, the ups and downs, and you know, there's a glass of wine waiting on me with a win and 2 when we lose. So she's a great coach's wife in that aspect. And, you know, they live and breathe it and die it like you do. And I think being a coach is special. You know, the chance to serve young men and really, like I said, help them become productive citizens in life, understand what their goals are. And if you look at athletics, it teaches you work ethic, teamwork, discipline, self-discipline, and it really prepares you for the real world. And with that being said, I'm elated to be here. It's a great day to be a Bobcat, like Jim said. I'm excited to get going recruiting. Like he said, the lifeblood of any program is recruiting. And you know, we're going to hit the ground running and bring in the brightest, the biggest, the best, you know, kids we can from Ohio. And you know, it's going to start this weekend up at the state tournament. So appreciate everyone showing up, and look forward to meeting you and talking to you. See a lot of familiar faces. And I got a little bit more gray hair last time I was here. But thank you very much. Okay. So I guess
Some questions for Coach Boals.
Chase, you don't get to ask any.
Hey, Jeff, what do you see as the primary challenge right away to getting this program back to where you think it needs to be, where Jim thinks it needs to be? What's got to be addressed first and foremost?
Yeah, I think first and foremost is the team. You know, we have a couple young men in the back right now, and you know, anytime there's a change, it's difficult when you're dealing with 18 to 23-year-olds, and you know, there's a trust factor that you know, I need to earn their trust, and we need to get together, and I'll sit down individually with them and kind of rehash, you know, some of their thoughts, what's important to them, you know, find out what their individual goals are, what their team goals are. I believe we have around 5 weeks of the semester left, which will be good to get on, you know, workouts and really just to get to know them, because I think, you know, the more you trust each other and the better relationship you have, you know, the better everyone's going to be. So that's probably the first primary thing that's important to, you know, starting back to the path.
When you were, I assumed you had some sort of team meeting this morning with those guys. Did you find yourself slipping into anything that Coach Hunter may have busted out on the crew back in the day? And did you find yourself in that moment catching yourself off guard with how you?
You know, I'm going to meet with him this afternoon, and you know, I think Larry Hunter had so many Larry Hunterisms. We call him Yoda. You know, he used to he played Jedi mind tricks on us, and Larry was as old school as you could be. And I don't think today I could do that, but you know, I'm a very positive coach. I want our guys to play with freedom, give them a lot of trust, and you know, I don't want them thinking, I want them reacting. So you know, I think there'll be a trust factor involved, and I'm excited to meet them and spend time with them. And you know, like I said, it's a fragile time when you have a change, and the biggest thing is to show them you care, show them you love them, and understand, like, you know, I'm your head coach, and we're in this together.
When you know how much success this program's had and you've had with this program, how important is it to get this thing back on track as quickly as, you know, the next year, the next 2 years? You know, what, and then furthermore, what do you think? What would you define as success in year 1, year 2?
Yeah, I think, you know, anytime you start a season, every coach is going to have a goal of reaching a championship level, and it's a process and it's a journey. There's ups and downs through every journey, and you have to embrace the adversity just like you do the prosperity. And I think the biggest thing will be, you know, when we're going through everything we deal with, you know, there's the response to anything that happens. And, you know, our goal next year is going to be win the championship. That won't change, you know, year to year. And, you know, some years may be tougher, but, you know, you have to understand, you know, you got to play as a team, you got to play selfless, you know, you have to play tough, you have to compete. And you know, one big thing I'll use that Larry used all the time was compete, and I can't get it out of my head. He's like, compete, you gotta compete. So I don't quite say it like he did, but you know, we're going to be competitive in practice. We're going to be competitive in shooting drills, in the weight room, and in the academic center. You know, I think the more you compete, you know, just drives and elevates everybody.
When you watch this program from afar and you watch it struggle and you know the success that they've had, what is that like for you as somebody who is in the coaching realm and knows what that's like?
Yeah, you know, winning's tough, and you know, there's no magic pill, there's no secret, you know, formula to do it. You know, it's a lot of hard work, a lot of belief, and you know, a lot of it depends on the leader and how you get everyone on the same page. And you know, like I said, it's tough to win, but you know, you got to be prepared, you got to be organized, and you know, if you play hard, and you play together, a lot of times, good things will happen. And, I've followed Ohio University, for the last 24 years. I've always been a Bobcat, always been a fan. And, I thought Saul did a phenomenal job. Injuries obviously play a course in a lot of seasons. There's different things that happen that you can't control. And, I always tell our guys, control what you can. And that's your attitude, that's your actions, and, your effort.
Coach, how important is it to make sure that these players on this roster now stay here and give you something that you can build upon in the future?
Yeah, like I said, when you have change, it's a fragile time, and there's going to be people disappointed, and that's my job as the head coach to kind of bring everyone together, and the best thing you can do is communicate. Nowadays, kids might text each other, but you want to communicate and build a rapport and build trust, and this place isn't going to be for everybody. What we're doing and what we're trying to do, is not going to be for everybody, and we want people who want to be here for the right reasons. And if the case happens that they don't want to be here, then we'll do everything we can. But I'll help them achieve their goals and find success.
Coach, you mentioned on the triple-double podcast with Corey Albertson that you need to keep your inner circle a dot. How important was it for you to return your coaching staff from Stony Brook and all people with Ohio ties?
Yeah, like I said, this is a tough decision, but we had a great team coming back next year. We were 24-8. We lost one senior, had a kid sitting out, and like Jim said, we were primed to kind of continue this thing. And it was going to take a special place and a special situation for me to leave. And obviously, I feel like this is a special place and a special situation. And I think with our staff, hopefully, Gino has a chance to get the job at Stony Brook, and the other guys will probably come with us. And ironically, all those guys were from Ohio. One from Columbus, Akron. I'm near Canton, Ohio, and Gino's from Cambridge. And it just kind of happened that way. And I think it's important. Like Jim said, the relationships that you have with high school coaches, AAU coaches, and the biggest thing is getting people down here to campus. When they see this beautiful campus, there's a wow factor when you walk into the arena. Obviously, the new video board, the locker rooms, the resources are there. And now you just have to build relationships, get them on campus, and we want people who want to be here for the right reasons, and I think we'll be able to do that.
Jeff or Jim, can you guys talk about what the timeline was of this all coming together?
Well, I think one thing I would say is that as an athletic director, you always are watching what's going on in those major sports. So I think regardless of how a season goes, I always do some homework. I usually I pay attention to good coaches or assistant coaches who are out there. So that process, regardless of how a team is doing, is something that helps kind of expedite if we are in a position where we do need to make a search. I felt prepared in that way, and kind of developed a little bit of a style of research, a lot of stuff on the internet, and really was very comprehensive. Even I know it went very quickly, so you might not think that was the case, but it was very deliberate. And a lot of people were on a list, and I worked my way through, and I think clearly Jeff was the right person for exactly what we needed. Unfortunately, the search fell into place, and I do think there's value in a search like this to move it along if you can. You don't want to be hasty, but you have a lot of constituents. You have the current team, and you have parents and recruits and media and fans, and people want to know. So I think if you can move it along, it worked out well to be able to do that. And so you don't really have a time frame. They have a life of their own. Sometimes it takes longer than others, but I think in this case, after doing that initial research, we knew exactly what we wanted, and Jeff fit into that right away. So the search was able to move forward pretty quickly, and so we're very blessed about that.
I think from my standpoint, I was contacted, and it's a process, and it's a wave of emotions, and the timeline sometimes is 24, 48 hours where you have to make a decision. And thankfully, President Nellis and Jim, were very cordial with my time and understood the timing of everything. We had thorough discussions, Thursday, Friday. We met on Saturday and had a great conversation, and that's kind of when it happened, and I had a decision to make. And like I said, it took a special situation for me to leave Stony Brook, and I was elated that they asked me to be the head coach.
You played for Larry Hunter. You coached under Thad Matta.
Yeah, just, different guys, different ways to do it, and, you always take something from, I've worked with a lot of great coaches, and obviously Thad being the most recent, and, Larry was such a competitor. He competed racquetball, cards, you name it. Larry was just competing, and I think, that kind of, was who I was as a player. I wasn't the most athletic guy, but I'll be on the floor diving, taking charges, picking a teammate up, cheering them on the bench. And, Thad was great from a confidence standpoint. He was great at giving his players confidence, letting them play with freedom. And I think that's really key, nowadays especially. And, Thad was a great communicator, did a phenomenal job communicating. Every kid's different, and there were kids on our Stony Brook team, if I yelled at them, they would go in the shell. Another guy I'd yell at, he'd play harder. So as a coach, you got to kind of figure out, and I thought Thad was really, really good at that. And, Thad was instrumental in me accepting his job. He always told me, don't ever leave, for a bad job or a bad situation. Make sure it's a top 3 job in the league. And, I think this is the best job in our league. Resources, funding, campus, everything. And, I'm excited about that. And, I call him all the time, and I'll continue to call Thad.
We'll do 1 or 2 more, and then we'll break it off for some individual interviews.
Hey, Jeff, you were thought to be a candidate in 2012, 2014. Was there any hard feelings that you had to work through along the way when this opportunity came up last week?
Fake news. I think when you're in this profession, like I said, my dream job has always been to be the head coach of Ohio University. And, Jim and I have a great relationship. We have great dialogue. He's transparent. And, I know there's some things out there about hard feelings, but I think more disappointed on my end. And I completely understand this is a business. And, at the time, his criteria was, preferred a head coach. I wasn't a head coach. And thankfully, I went out and was hired by Dr. Stanley and Sean Hilbrun. Had a great 3-year stretch. And I learned a lot. The team I took over at Stony Brook, a couple kids got arrested the night of my interview. Another got arrested a couple months later. And I didn't coach the team I thought I was going to coach. And then we lost 5 seniors and my best player, and had to regroup. Lost a lot of close games my second year, and I think through positivity, the culture that we have, we turned it around with 1 senior, 1 junior, and the rest freshmen and sophomores. And I'll never use young as an excuse. I know there's a lot of young kids next year, but why not us? And so there's no hard feelings at all. I just feel timing is everything in this profession, and I feel fortunate to gain the experience at Stony Brook that I did. Work for a great AD there, work for a great president, and I'm looking to continue the same here.
All right, we're going to break it off for individual interviews here, and thank you guys for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming.
Great job, Jeff. Good job, man.